Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Pros and Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. My name is Kahala, and I'm your host. Well, we will continue in Women's History Month. Another amazing woman. She is so many things, and including a friend of mine, but I just cannot wait to get into everything we're discussing today because she is the legislative coordinator for AFGE. And we have with us the amazing April Williams.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
And I am so happy to have you.
Yes.
I mean, you are just blazing
Thank you.
trails, and you are just out here representing for democracy, for healthcare, for unions, for Black women, just for everybody. And so
Yes.
I am so happy to have you here with me today to talk about AFGE.
Yes.
What you do legislatively, why that matters to us in our everyday lives, and just all the things that keep us union strong here at Pros and Politics Podcast.
Yes.
So first, tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm April Williams.
Mhm.
I am a registered nurse. I am actually a certified wound care nurse, gold standard certified wound care nurse with the
Okay.
WOCNCB. And I am the wound care coordinator here at the local St. Louis VA. I'm also a member of American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE, and I'm one of the legislative political coordinators for District 9, which is our local district here in the St. Louis and Kansas metro areas. And I've been just having a wonderful time
Mhm.
promoting democracy, promoting rights for union workers, and promoting better care for our veterans. So I'm really happy to be here and serve in that capacity in my community.
And you are also a wife and a mom and all
Yes.
those wonderful things, and a Jack and Jill mom. We love Jack and
Yes.
Jill here at Pros and
Yes, we
Politics
do.
Podcast.
Yes, we do.
But so many things that you just said. We love veterans
Yes.
here. So my wonderful podcast producer, Chris, is a veteran. I come from a family of veterans, and I have a girlfriend, Brandy Hammock, who now Hammock, that works for VA in terms of suicide and prevention and things of that
Yes.
nature. So we love veterans and the VA here. So to know that not only are you a registered nurse and you're in healthcare and caring for people and making sure that they're thriving physically,
Yes.
but wound care. Because when you think of
Yes.
veterans, you often think of wounds and the wounded warriors and so many other things. So, and for you to have all those certifications and all that other wonderful stuff, you were just amazing. I just
Thank
want you
you.
to know
Thank
that.
you.
I just want you to know that.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy to be here serving veterans, and in particular, having the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. and meet with members who are responsible for the recent passage of the PACT Act.
Mhm.
The PACT Act has been very important to our disabled veterans. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure your producer, who may have served during some of our areas of conflict, as we stand here, members of Congress like Representative Budzinski, who is a member of our Veteran Affairs Committee, and Representative Takano, they were champions for passage of the PACT Act. And the PACT Act has allowed so many veterans who filed for their disability claims,
Okay.
who were not able to get approved, to get their claims approved. And it really has made a difference in their family. My husband is a Navy veteran, retired Navy veteran, and he was able to file his disability using the PACT Act benefits. So it's made a tremendous difference
Even
to
in
my
your own
family
life.
personally.
Yes.
Yes.
Representative Budzinski, she's been on Pros and Politics Podcast, and she is
Yes.
absolutely a friend of the platform.
Absolutely amazing.
When she ran in her most recent election, I did everything that I could to assist Sora April in that process and just helping Nikki, because I've known her since our time with the governor when he
Yes.
initially ran. That's how I
Yes.
first met Nikki, and she was just always so genuine.
Absolutely.
And so now to have her representing such a large federal district with such a heart for people, we love Nikki. So, and speaking of her, you just got back from the State of the Union address.
Yes.
When I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, this April? Yes, she is. Is she? Oh my goodness. I mean, I was hyped. Like, I know I'm a nerd in politics and whatever.
Yes.
But when I saw that you were going to have that opportunity, literally of a lifetime.
Yes,
Literally
absolutely.
of a lifetime. So please tell us all about that.
Well, I can start with how this all got started.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, I went to an event called Pearls in Politics for Our Community. And I believe one of the organizers for that event was Miss Kahala Clay and some of her associates. And it was all about spreading benefits to our community and providing services to our community. And I looked at that event and I said, there's a lot of things that can be done in our community. And I think I just want to do important things. So from that event 2 years ago, I just started doing doing important things. And to think that all that started from an event that I attended that you were a part of has made me feel very blessed to be here today. And to think that that has matriculated into being able to go to the State of the Union address, to be in the room with our great president, President Biden, to be able to see firsthand how President Biden at 80 years old looks so vibrant. I think he's going to bring back 80 is the new 60.
I love it.
Because he has so much swag and he is doing so many great things for our country. And to be invited by Representative Budzinski, who's doing so many wonderful things for our veterans, for our working class people in our community. It was just a tremendous opportunity. And to be in the room with the GOP side of the house and to see that that anger that you see is really real. It is really resonating to a point where some of our messages are not being heard. So I'm glad that you're providing this platform to many of us to just be here to say that our president is ready at day one. He does not look as old as what we see in the media. He's very vibrant, and I think he's going to bring back a new phenomenon for 80-year-old men who have a lot of swag. So I'm just happy
lot to say and a lot to offer.
Absolutely.
I know for me, obviously, the Biden-Harris ticket is the only ticket that I would be supporting, obviously. I supported that campaign when it started, and I voted for them years ago, and I've supported their platforms and their positions and their initiatives. And I oftentimes have conversations with people because I know I can speak for myself when you spoke of how your husband and your family have benefited directly from legislation. I am quick to tell people that I no longer have over $84,000 in student loan debt.
Absolutely.
Because of my president and my vice president. And there are a lot of people who, student loan forgiveness and who's going to pay for that. Let me tell you what I did. I qualified for it for years of service. Years of service. You have to have 10 years of service, and you had to have made over 100 payments.
Yes.
Into your student loan debt. So it wasn't something that, I'm out here working for a big law firm and I got my Louis Vuitton bag and my glasses on my nose. No, I was a public defender.
Yes.
I was a prosecutor. I was a circuit clerk whose salary maintained pretty much the whole 10 years the same, with a growing family, but yet I chose to continue to serve my community of East St. Louis and St. Clair County. And so the people, the men and women who are qualifying and being forgiven and having their lives forever changed under PSLF, they earned it.
Absolutely.
And so I want it to be said forever that we earned it and we deserved it. And so my family life and my family dynamic was changed forever because I graduated from law school in 2004, even made my student loan payments through the pandemic when I didn't have to, yet still paid into it. And so now I went from $100,000 20 years ago. It was still only $84,000 because of the interest and all the other things. It's not okay. And it was holding back not only communities of color, but I don't care what anybody says, it was holding back anybody who had it.
Right.
No
Right.
matter the race, no matter the gender, no matter the socioeconomic background of the individual, if you have that kind of debt, you're saddled with it. And so for them to say, we want to make that change, we want to help people, I can say that I benefited from it. So this administration is changing lives, is making a difference, and they have my support.
Absolutely. You talked about student loan debt. I don't have the statistic in front of me, but I believe one of the largest groups who are beneficiaries of that program are nurses. Nurses come from
Yes.
all backgrounds,
Mhm.
economic standards, and I know personally several of my colleagues who have benefited from student loan debt forgiveness.
Mhm.
So, considering the nursing shortage that we have, that
Mhm.
program has really helped a lot of nurses. First of all, most of us work two jobs. We
Mhm.
work, one at our main place, and we work a side hustle, as some would say. Some of them have been able to really get their family quality of life back. It's helped
Mhm.
sustain their ability to stay in the nursing field, especially when the pandemic was so hard on nurses.
Yes, it
So this
was.
program has been a tremendous help to the medical community.
It has. Um, so let's talk about your as a Black woman in that union space.
Yes.
Because a lot of times when people think union, they think gentlemen, they think men, right? They don't
Yes.
typically think women. Now we know that there are literally millions of women, right, that are part of unions. But still, again, that force, that face, right? We don't always think of women. So please tell us just how that feels or how representation not only of women, but people of color, what that means in the union space.
It feels really great. I do know that the current president of the AFL-CIO is a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
AFGE has really been progressive to promoting women in positions of leadership.
Awesome.
And also to have an opportunity to serve in my local community as a Black woman has been a tremendous benefit when I deal with the local labor council. And the benefit for me being here in the Metro East is that I get to do it in Illinois and Missouri. So the
Missouri.
platform is even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So as a Black woman, even being a federal employee, there's some of the best jobs for growth for African Americans because you get promoted based on your skills and based on your education.
Okay.
So for example, for myself, I'm in school. I've always been in school. Seems like I've been in school all my life. I'm currently working on my family nurse practitioner, and I've just enrolled
Awesome.
in my last class. So soon I'll have that behind my back as
Congratulations.
well. So in the federal system, it's been an area where Black women in particular, and Blacks in general, can earn a really good salary. They have
Mm-hmm.
the great benefits, and to be able to fight for those rights to be maintained as part of AFGE, where we do go to Congress and we do ask for fair wages, we do ask for better working conditions, and there are several bills that are on the floor now that specifically will benefit federal workers. So having the opportunity to do that as a Black woman has made me feel like I'm really doing a public service
You
to the
are.
community.
You are.
Yes,
You mentioned better wages,
yes,
fair wages. You mentioned better work environment. So those are all like staples, right? Of
absolutely.
what unions do and what unions fight for. A lot of people. I come from a union family.
Yes,
So my cousin Todd was the union president. He was a firefighter, union president, before transitioning on as assistant chief. My brother, I talk all the time about how just in my 14 years back home that I have seen for myself unfair things happen, and that his union fought for him. And every penny of back pay, getting hired back, like so many things, right? His union fought for. And my father was an office holder in the firefighters union before becoming chief. So again, I come from a union family, but I think for those of us who don't, we oftentimes don't really know, right, what unions do and what they fight for. So can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. Well, unions are the heart of creating equal and justice in our working community. We recently saw the power of some really big and powerful unions like the UAW and the recent Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers, which my husband is a part of, uh, where they were able to change the dynamics of how people view the power that unions have. We have the power to move the economy with all the work that's been done across the country. We think we're
Absolutely.
involved in transportation industry,
Everything.
the auto worker industry,
The
and
food industry.
with
Everything.
with unions being at the forefront of making sure that their employees get fair wages, get great retirement packages, and the biggest part of that is what it does for families. So having, and believe it or not, on the GOP side, there is a full force attack on making sure that
On
we
unions.
diminish the impact
Of
of unions.
unions,
And you can go and
absolutely.
read about it. I believe it's called Project 25 or something like that, but you can go and read about the plan to diminish the power of unions, because what has been relevant for unions is they understand the power that we have to organize, the power that we have. We have a PAC, political PAC. So the power that we have to put our money in places for those members of Congress that promote the power that promote the policies for unions to make them better. Just like Representative Budzinski, she is a union strong member. She
She
used to
is.
be a part of the union, and they understand that when we have the organizing power and potential that we have the power to move the needle.
To move mountains.
Yes.
To move
Yes.
mountains. Unions don't play.
Yes,
I was
absolutely.
always grateful for union support, because without it, how do you win? Right? From a candidate, former candidate, or potential candidate's position, how do you win without unions? You know what I'm saying? And so they are strong. That's why they say union strong. The things that they fight for, like you said, it's about a better life for the individual that's working in the union, and it's about a better life for their family. Because I know for me, when I first moved back, I lived with my brother. My son and I, right, moved back widowed with my elderly mother and my 1-year-old
Yes.
baby. And so while I'm selling my house in Indiana, I'm moving back to an assistant state's attorney salary,
Yes.
right? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm able to stay with my brother who had the space. Well, if his union had not fought for him to be rehired, because the contract says they are supposed to have X number of firefighters based on the population, then where would we have gone? Or we would have moved and been displaced again until I was in a position to be appointed circuit clerk and then be able to buy a house and restore my son and I back to home ownership. But again, it affects so many people. Like, it's, you throw a pebble in a pond and it's just a ripple effect. What did you say during the pandemic? Union workers had Schnucks and all these
Absolutely.
other, food service, right? And just every possible aspect. You can't even build a building, right? Or
Absolutely.
you're not supposed to, right?
Well,
Without union support and without union contractors. So, like you said, it is the absolute heart of who we are as a civilized society and as a workforce, and it is absolutely the backbone of the middle class.
I just had a conversation with a young lady this morning while I was getting my coffee at the gas station, and I asked her, "Are you going to vote?" And her response to me was, "No, because it doesn't make a difference. Our votes don't count." And I could see that she had some experience about her, even though she was very young. And I asked her, "So you're saying to me that if someone punches you, or if someone does something to you, that you're not going to fight back?" I said, you don't come off to me as a person that if someone gets in your face and does something to you or punches you, that you wouldn't punch them back.
Right.
So when you say your vote don't count, then you're allowing someone to punch you and not fight back.
And not fight back.
So your vote is your fight. Your vote is your voice. And I believe I was able to break through to this young lady and talk to her about, I said, yeah, you should tell your friends to vote too. So people like myself understand these communities and understand the relationships that we have in our community. And we're able to go and get people motivated to vote and to come out to vote. And that's what unions are going to be doing for this election season. We're going to be fighting.
And you talked about the passion.
Yes.
Everything, you were just so passionate in all the things that you just said. And to know that you take your fight wherever you go. What'd you say? Getting coffee this morning. And that is what I try to tell people. Like, it's the highways and the byways, right? It's not just throwing Tootsie Rolls at a parade. It's not just the regular political scene, right? It's church. It's work. It's the family gathering. It's the gas station. It's all those places that are people wouldn't expect,
Absolutely.
right? And the way you phrase that was just so beautiful. Like, you don't strike me as the type of person that's just gonna lay down and take it. Like, you strike me as the type of person that has some fight in them, and I'm just not going to let you railroad me or just treat me any kind of way. Like, if my rights are taken, it's not going to be because I didn't fight for them first.
Absolutely.
And that was, going into the next thing that we were going to discuss, but you've already covered it, the importance of this election, right? So there's the primary and then there's the general, and there's so much in between. Right. And so just to be able to say, I'm going to make sure that I vote. I'm going to make sure that I'm not just registered. And we say all the time on this platform, being registered with Tom Holbrook's office or with the East St. Louis Board of Elections or wherever you are in the country, being on the books is not enough. The book is not going to vote for you. You have to get up and early vote, or you get up on election day. I know a lot of old school, like people my mama's age, they like, I don't do that newfangled stuff y'all new kids do. I get up on election day. Well, make sure you get up. We gonna pray you don't have a flat tire. We gonna pray you don't, catch the flu or whatever the situation may be. But that's why early voting is such a blessing, right? Go early, and then it's out the way. But whenever you go, take somebody with you. Get on social media, send out a group text. I tell people all the time, take me out the group chat. That day, I'm okay with the group chat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you brought up early voting. Mm-hmm. The one thing I love about our community is we have made it so easy for people to vote. I had this conversation this morning.
Especially in the state of Illinois.
Absolutely.
And we thank Governor Pritzker. We thank Lieutenant Governor Stratton. We thank the General Assembly and every voting member who votes for democracy and the ability to vote and make it accessible for everybody.
Absolutely. But it's not that way in every state.
No.
So in the places where they're making it harder to vote, that's where the power of union comes in. So because we're explaining to people, if you don't get to this place at that time, or we're even making it easy for them to find out where they're supposed to vote. Those are the types of things that makes a difference. And I will say this. It's very important, this election, because as you know, there are several third-party candidates. Mm-hmm. The significance of what that means is during the last elections, I believe the difference between the former president's votes and our current president was a very small percentage. And another smaller percentage went to third-party candidates.
Absolutely.
And right now, there's a struggle between, we have several third-party candidates. There is the No Labels Party. Mm-hmm. And if you take the percentage the percentage of the vote that they may take away from a candidate, then they may end up putting the other candidate across the top. So every vote counts.
It does. I am I'm all about democracy. Like, that is my jam. But I'm gonna be honest. All the other candidates that are, they have a right, right? I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But when I tell you, as a former candidate who every vote counted for, it wasn't, in your local election, in your county, in your state, it's not about the electoral college, right? It is about that popular vote exclusively. And when I see 6-way races and the fourth, fifth, sixth candidate know good and well that they're only going to get 37 out of 18,000 votes. Like, again, that puts the race, it supports democracy, but it puts so many things in a lurch, and it just does. So that goes to what you're saying. We have to support everybody's want or desire to properly find themselves on a ballot. We had a whole episode about that, on how you get your petitions and making sure that the petitions are right and making sure you have enough signatures and all the things to legally and properly find yourself on the ballot. But with that being said, the fact that these days anybody can run. Anybody can run.
Well,
We want to make sure that we're voting, and we're educated, we're informed, we're motivated, and we're going out and voting for the best candidate, and everybody's voting. So then that way it doesn't come down to, I lost by 17 votes and 16 votes went to this person that in an 18,000 vote elect. Like, it's that crushing feeling. Like, I can tell you, I never lost an election, and I won my last election by 8,000 votes, but I've seen it.
absolutely.
And I have cried for people, right, that I loved or that I cared about, that they lost by just that much. And if your subdivision of people had gotten up and voted and not said at the coffee shop, I really don't care, that man or woman who really truly had your interest, right, could have been representing you, but now the person that literally doesn't support you or anything that your family needs is now the person representing you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you think about our national election, it's all about the electoral college. Those third-party candidates, even though they have a certain amount of votes, maybe 1-2% of the vote, none of them have gotten electoral. Fact check me. I hope your audience does. None of them have gotten electoral college votes. So that's about who wins at the top of the ticket. But on those down ballot tickets, sometimes it comes down to 1 or 2 votes.
Absolutely.
And that could have been your vote if you didn't wake up to vote that day. So I'm hoping that everyone has a deep understanding about how important their vote is, each and every one of them, to this election. And that's for your top of the ballot candidates like President Biden, from your state representatives, your national representatives. Every vote counts. Yes.
And we have to vote. And, I talk about it till my lips are chapped here, that the numbers since our wonderful President Obama, since he won his 2 terms, what did he say? 2 terms, please. Since he won his 2 terms, the Black vote, unfortunately, has continued to decline. And we've got to change that, because I tell people all the time, you don't feel like you have much to gain, but baby, let me tell you how much you got to lose. So if you can't look at it like nothing, you have a lot to lose. And I think people don't understand that. Look, reproductive rights for women.
Yes.
You have so much to lose. Like, I cannot imagine getting to a space or a place, that's not where we're at now. Okay, talk to me January of next year about where we're at if this doesn't go right in November. I can't imagine being in a civilized country in this century and not being able to make the decision on something as simple as birth control, right? Even if you wanted to take abortion out of the conversation, which we shouldn't, you will eventually, the slippery slope will slide you all the way down to the point that you just have to, like, either, I don't know what you would have to do. You cannot consciously say for yourself and your family, well, I have 3, I'm done. Right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so it's just so many things that we just think, oh, well, it's going to stop here. It's really not going to stop there if we don't vote and stop it.
Well, let's just be clear. It hasn't stopped. I know in the state of Alabama, there are issues with whether families can have IVF. But there's also laws being passed that are taking away medications for people that don't even know that they're pregnant. And there's so many extreme laws on the books when it
Extreme.
comes to women's reproductive rights. So I know that the current candidate is talking about a 16-week abortion ban. Well, whether you believe in abortion or not, understand that that affects women health care.
Absolutely.
Women health care is so critical now because, believe it or not, there's not a lot of research in women's health issues, which our current president, President Biden, just announced during the State of the Union speech that they're creating avenues for more research for women's health issues, like the impact of menopause. What does that have on the body? So without women reproductive rights, I guarantee you that research is probably not going to take place.
Absolutely.
So it's more than just women reproductive rights. It's about keeping Obamacare. Obamacare has been such a great thing for this country.
It has.
The impact of being able to get health insurance if you have a pre-existing condition has made a major difference. And that's why it's popular. That's why even people who don't vote Democratic love Obamacare. You can call
Because
it
everybody wants to be healthy.
yes.
Everybody wants their children to have insurance. I can't imagine my children not having insurance. I love the fact, and I'm grateful to God that I have 3 extremely healthy children that hardly ever go to the doctor other than, an annual checkup or a random cold here or there. But there are millions of Americans that we love, that we know, that are living in today's society that have countless health issues from major to minor, and to not have the health insurance that you need to be able to go to the doctor, pay a copay, whether it's not, I just remember all my epidurals.
I'm still waiting on mine.
All my epidurals, okay? And what I think insurance paid for my epidurals over and over again, like 90%. Can you imagine because I'm all about prenatal care. Like,
Yes.
from the moment I thought I was pregnant, I met my doctor. And so to just be able to, with peace, know that I can go once a month and every 2 weeks, then once a week, and then I can go to the brand new, at that time it was brand new, the beautiful labor and delivery over at Barnes Hospital at the time with my last child, and just know that I am insured. I'm here to have this blessing, and then I can go home. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But it's just a peace of mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That
I can share
It
the
just
story.
means so much.
I can share the story of my niece. Unfortunately, she passed away. She had cancer. But at the time she was changing jobs, she didn't have health insurance. So, of course, she had some symptoms. She went to the doctor and she found out that she had stage 4 cancer. I believe it was ovarian cancer. They really didn't know exactly what it was, but by the time it was diagnosed, it was already spreading too far. But while she was in the hospital, she signed up on the exchange to get health insurance, and she didn't have to pay anything because she didn't have any income. And because she was able to go on the exchange, get a policy, she was able to get some of the best health care to treat her cancer. And even unfortunately, she did pass away, but she passed away with dignity. Can you imagine without having any health
No.
insurance and not able to get
Treatment.
medication for pain during a terminal cancer illness? So again, risking not voting is risking the impact of these programs being taken away, because there is talk on the GOP side that they still want to get rid of Obamacare. So,
Absolutely. They've never not wanted to.
and I believe when the last president was elected in 2016, one of his platforms was he was going to get rid of Roe versus Wade.
Roe versus Wade.
So when
And
they
Obamacare.
say they want to get rid of a program, believe them. Like Maya Angelou, trust someone. Say someone shows you who they want, believe them the first time.
Believe them the first time.
Yes. So that's what the impact of our vote and our voice is all about.
Absolutely. Well, you are amazing.
Thank you.
You are so passionate and so knowledgeable, and you just have a heart for people.
Absolutely.
That's why you are a, degree, licensed, steady learning, steady, healthcare provider, and you are providing healthcare for some of our greatest, right?
Absolutely,
our veterans. And just the work that you're doing, in the union is just so commendable.
Thank
I am
you.
so happy that you were able to come on. Nikki couldn't have chosen a better person
Thank you.
to invite. And I'm glad that you had a safe time and that it was just everything that you dreamt that it would be. And we will be doing a lot, you and I, between now and November.
Absolutely.
I can absolutely see it.
You'll see me on the streets.
And I will be with you.
Yes.
And I will be with you. We have some people that we've got to get back in office.
Yes. Yes.
We've got some people that we have to get back in office.
Yes.
And some people we got to keep in office.
Absolutely.
For ourselves and our families.
There are people who are in office, our Representative Budzinski, our state representative, Christopher Belt, and some of those other candidates who are fighting for the people.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting for improved living conditions for our families. They're fighting for things like child care, reducing student loan debt, research for women's health care. They're fighting for people like me who only want to be in a position to be able to help others so that there's funding. Programs take funds.
Mm-hmm.
So having the ability to continue to support those people who support our community. We want our community strong. Our communities need to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have resources. They need to have, great drinking water,
Mm-hmm.
buildings to educate our kids in, and they need safe spaces.
Absolutely.
So getting out to vote and support these candidates and try to understand that the media is not always going to tell the truth.
Right.
So you believe what you see. You see me. I grew up in East St. Louis.
Yes.
I played basketball in college. I was on a athletic scholarship. I believe in working hard, just like my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can do this. Anybody can use their voice and use their heart and use their skills and talents to help others. Yes.
And be boots on the ground. Well, you will have to come back. I won't even ask if you will. You'll have to come back.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned Senator Chris Belt. He is always a friend and always on the platform.
Yes.
And then when we were talking about people we have to get back in office, I want to call her in this particular instance candidate for state representative.
Yes.
Latoya Greenwood, getting her
yes.
back in the state capitol.
Absolutely.
And so just making sure that people who are like-minded, who have the interests of our families at heart, are in the spaces and places that we need them representing us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I can't wait for you to come back.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in today to Pros in Politics podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We need you engaged, we need you educated and informed, and we need you motivated to go out and vote. So whether it's your primary election or whether it's your general election, whether it's local, state, or federal, your vote and your voice count, and they matter. And so we hope that you will join us again next week for another amazing episode. But in the meantime, please like, love, share, and subscribe.